Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the. If you are watching this in the future, I'm a little laughy right now because I started to do this and got a few minutes in and said something that was absolutely wrong. So we're starting over. But welcome to the Hue speedrunning tutorial. This will be rather comprehensive. I will certainly try to make it comprehensive. It'll cover any percent, warpless any percent, and it won't cover the full 100% route because it's very tedious, it's very backtracky, you do a lot of rooms twice, and it's something that once you learn the basics as introduced in this video, you really can just pick up the rest from watching runs. Brief look at the options. I run the game using controller. There's really nothing special about the options. Left stick for movement, right stick for color shifts. You know, some runners use mouse and keyboard. It's your basic WASD, up, left, right, and down. Up, left, yeah. Up, left, down, right, wait. Yeah, up, left, down, right, WASD. It's so weird. I don't use keyboard very much. Basically, only when I have absolutely no choice do I use keyboard for games. And left shift for action on keyboard controls. Pretty standard stuff, I do believe. The colorblind mode, I think, is pretty cool for this game. It doesn't change any of the colors, actually. It just... Oh, we can't even show it yet because we're too early in the game. But what it does is it replaces the symbols on the color. It adds symbols to the color wheel. It doesn't change the colors themselves. If I could pull up the color wheel, I could show you. Oh, I can actually show you in here. Yeah, see, there's symbols there on the blue in the door and the green on that block there. Makes it so if you can't see colors quite right, you can still play the game. Some runners do use it. I don't. I find it very distracting, so I'm going to disable it. And, yeah. 3, 2, 1, start a new game. So this first area is called the Dream Cave. That's what I call it anyway. It's dreamy, it's a cave-like setting. Just go with it. As you play the game, you'll encounter these letters. If you've played the game casually, you know that these are the story of the game. These are the letters from your long-lost mom. You can pick them up if you choose to. It's better not to, because, at least on the PC version, the majority of the letters have a lag spike when you collect them. So if you collect all the letters you don't have to, over the course of an 80% run, it's probably about a 2-second time loss. Of course, a lot of them are simply not avoidable. Now, the movement tech for this first area, and for a lot of the game later on, is going to be bunny hopping. Bunny hopping is basically you jump and then you jump again right as your feet hit the ground. So this is bunny hopping. It doesn't matter doing it on flat ground. Flat ground, it doesn't matter. But going up little staircases like this is where it matters. As you're running along, you want to start your first bunny hop right as you're about level with this little edge here, because if you jump when you're level there, you can end up here. Obviously, if you run all the way here before jumping, you wind up in the same place, and, you know, it's obviously going to be faster not to jump from there, but to jump from there, as opposed to jumping from there. So you come along, you do some bunny hops. Don't jump coming down. Coming down, jumping is slower. Some more bunny hops going up and over. And as you descend, you don't need to worry about stepping off at exactly the right pixel so that you don't overrun it or anything, because you can control Hue in midair. Watch this closely. I'll walk off, and there will be a few pixels separation between Hue and this area right here, this black area. But as I fall, I'll turn back to the left because the next way to run will be to the left. And you'll see that I'm sort of hugging this wall, so to speak, so that I'm as far to the left as I can be while falling. If that makes any sense. Turn back as you fall, and you're lined up for the next area of running. Jump about there. That was actually a little bit late. Jump about there. That's the end of the Dream Cave. A good Dream Cave is about 54 seconds. 55 is pretty typical. If you lose control of Hugh with 54 on the timer, you've had a very good dream cave. Alright, Hugh's house. Honestly, this ladder has trolled me more than I would care to admit, because the input for jumping is A, the input for going down the ladder fast is down on the stick in A. Sometimes the game doesn't hear me hit down on the stick. There is a glitch with leaving Hugh's house that one of the runners does in italics. He claims it saves a second. He's got a video for it. I don't do it myself because my testing has not borne out that it saves any time at all. So I'm not even going to try it. Just leave the house, you go to the left here. I would recommend bunny hopping even up short staircases like this, because while it doesn't save an immediately noticeable amount of time, I really do feel that this is one of those little things that, you know, you save 5 frames here, 2 frames there. Over the course of the run, that could end up being 5 seconds, and it really is what separates the elite runs from the great runs, or the great runs from the good runs. Keep going to the left. Again, don't jump down the stairs. I used to do that. It actually is slower. I thought for a time it was the same, and it's just like, oh, I'm having fun, but no, it actually is slower. You collect the first shard. Right away, this is where the 2 routes, any percent versus warpless any percent, differ. In warpless, you're just going to run straight to the right as far as you can. In any percent, you pause the game, and if you're running with the auto splitter, it's very easy to tell the exact right frame you can do this on, because the auto splitter tells you when the flag is set for the game considering Hugh to own the light blue shard. As soon as you own the light blue shard, pause the game, hit restart level. That warps you back to Hugh's house. And notice I said the word warps. That means you can't use it in warpless. But from here, you go to the right, and I'll just show you. Yeah, this is Hugh's house right here. We collect the light blue shard way over here. So look at all this walking time this saves. It's about 6-7 seconds, I believe. I like to jump down these steps. This one is the same, whether you jump or whether you do not jump. Same here. Come up to this guy. Now, you don't have to. When I first started running this game, I tried to pay special attention to what this guy's last line of dialogue was when I had to do an input. You don't actually have to worry about that. He says 5 things, then you do something, then he says 5 things, then you do something. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You shift to light blue to dispel the rocks. This is done with the right control stick. You know, eventually, of course, you know, if you've played the game casually, you'll fill out the color wheel, but for now, all we have is light blue, so shift to light blue, dispel the rocks. He's like, oh my dog, the rocks are gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then he starts shuffling off. In warpless, you have to let him shuffle off, and it takes 100 million years. In any percent, you just hit restart level again, and you skip that animation. It really is a pretty substantial time save. It's about 5 seconds. Bunny hop up these steps. We're into our first area. Shift to light blue right away to make this block go away. I usually do it before the room even loads in. Now, you can't avoid this envelope, of course. So you run through it. And you notice that lag spike there. That would also happen with the first envelope in the Dream Cave. There is a beaker up in this area here. You cannot get it yet. You have to come back later when you have another color that you can shift to. So if you're doing a 100% run, you would have to come back to that point twice. Again, going up these little cutout staircases, if you will, you want a bunny hop. Going down, just run. Bunny hops. And ideally, you want to get to the exit door just after, you know, just within like a second after, or, no, it's not quite that close. But it's not long after the letter ends. The narration from Mom. Go through the door, another one. Here's a room where when I'm doing runs, I say some things that don't make a lot of sense to people. There's 2 bunny hops in this room. First hop, second hop. This is not something to really lose sleep over. And it's certainly not something to reset over unless you miss the first hop, because if you miss the first hop, you fall in the water. But it's just optimal frame perfect running through this area. There's 2 bunny hops. This is the first one by this little waterfall and this NPC here. As you're running, you want to take off when you're right about next to this pot. And then as you hit the ground on the other side, you bunny hop to this ledge here. If you do that, you never stop your horizontal momentum. 1, 2. That was not good, because did you see I hit this area on my way up. We'll try it again. So as you're coming through, see, that was good. Did you see how my horizontal momentum was never stopped? When I say first hop as I'm coming through here, that's the first hop. Jump right as you're running over this pot that's next to the lady, this jug, and you'll land like with your toenails on this ledge here if you do it right. That was late, but it was still a good hop because I didn't get hung up on this at all. Now the second hop is definitely not something to really worry about, but it's something I've noticed and been able to optimize in my runs. You want to start your second hop when you're level with this, the end of this block here. And that was perfect, because I didn't bonk against this. If it's done a little bit off, something like that will happen. Did you see how I bonked against that? It's such a minuscule time loss. It's never going to be worth resetting over or anything, of course, but it's something to try when you do your runs. See, that's a perfect second hop, because my horizontal momentum was never stopped. And we'll talk a lot about horizontal momentum. Horizontal momentum is everything in this game, to put it mildly. And that's a good second hop. What you want to do in this room is be heading to the right as you shift to blue to dispel these blocks below you. It sounds counterintuitive, but if you're just like standing here and you shift to blue and you fall, you're never going to make it all the way to the bottom without bonking on something. But if you're running to the right as you shift, okay, that was bad, but if you're running to the right as you shift, you can make it to the bottom without bonking on anything. I promise you, you can. This, again, is not something to reset over, of course. There we go. That's how it should look. It's, again, just the tiniest little time save, but, you know, you look after the frames and the seconds will mind themselves. Next room. Now, this room is interesting. You have to pull this block fairly far to be able to make the jump, but as you get here, there's always a lag spike. So if you keep pulling the block until after the lag spike, you've always got it far enough to make this jump. Now, you can really optimize this part here, because all you need is a sliver to get up and over. That's all you need. You know, whenever I see casual players play this, and I'm sure I did it too, you know, the box starts here, they come here and they do this, which you do not need to do. You know, you don't need to go nuts trying to get as little as possible, but, you know, I'd probably do it like that in a run, honestly. Well, obviously I was shooting for something like that. Or, no, not that, but that maybe, yeah, that's just about perfect. And then come back. And you wouldn't think it, but you only need a sliver on this side, too. You wouldn't think it because you've got so much further to go. And horizontal momentum again. You'll notice how when I'm flat-footed... Oh, you actually can make the jump flat-footed. I didn't think you could. But horizontal momentum, even if it's horizontal momentum going the other direction, you run and you jump onto it, and you jump a little bit further going back the other way. So this room, it's possible to do what we call a death warp, and you'll see that in a bit. You don't want to, though. It's slower than simply doing the room, because when you death warp, you have to wait out the full death animation. More on death warps in a moment. So in this room, you need to pull the box this far. And you'll see why in a moment. Obviously, when I've seen casual players do that, they pull it this far. Because, well, why wouldn't you? It looks like that's what you have to do, but it's not. You know, the box is here. You only have to pull it this far. Because, and I've already mentioned this, you can control hue in midair. Run back to here, shift to blue, and I'm going to jump up and move to the right in midair. So we shift, jump, move to the right, and you're on the box. Here it is in full speed. There's nothing to it. And, excuse me? I was gonna say you have to jump there to get from the box to this ledge, but the first time I didn't. That was so weird. This room here, you don't want to jump to this ledge as I just did. You want to just walk off. Jumping is slower because if you just walk off, you land there anyway. And then, ideally, you want to bunny hop from one to the next. Just so your horizontal momentum is never stopped. Excuse me. There is a super finicky skip in this room. First off, the intended way of doing this room that a lot of the runners still do, and doing it this way can still kill you sometimes, which is really, really annoying. You can also death warp in this room, but again, you don't want to. It's slower. So let's see if we can show you the skip. You want to dispel the blue bricks up there and move the rocks down without moving to the left of them. It seems like suicide, but hopefully I can do this right. That is not right. That's also not right. That should have been right. As I'll hopefully show, you can actually jump off of a rock and get to the other side, and get to the exit door before the rocks are even in the spike pit. Yeah, like that. See, I could be going through the door right now, and the rocks aren't even in the pit yet. First try, it saves about 2 seconds over doing the room the normal way. And it's not quite as hard as I'm making it look. It's perfectly doable. I just kind of suck at it the last couple of days. I was struggling with it in run attempts last night, too. Head into this room. You can death warp in this room, too, but again, you don't want to. With the exception of the 100% run. In the 100% run, you actually do want to do this death warp. And I'll show you why real quick. Oop. Wow, okay. Okay, this is the death warp. More in a moment on how the death warps work. It puts you from the entrance door straight to the exit door. You want to do it in the 100% run because you need this room in its starting state to be... You need to be at the exit door in this room with the room in its starting state. And the two ways to do that are to complete the room and go backwards, complete the room the normal way and go backwards through the entrance door of the previous room, or you can death warp. And of those two options, death warping is faster. And this, of course, is why you'd want to do it in the 100% run. There's a beaker up there. Fun thing about death warps is when you hit restart level, it takes you to the previous level. But for the any percent runs, and I would hazard to say this is the intended solution, but don't do it that way. Run to the left, and as you get to about here-ish, shift to blue, and just push the block rather than pulling it. It's abundantly faster. Okay, this is the first room where you want to do a death warp in any percent. But you can't use death warps since they're warps and warpless, so hopefully I can show you the warpless solution. Nope. You just jump over the rock. Now, in 100%, you actually do kind of-ish want to do the intended solution. Not really. But you do want to come down to the bottom of the room because there's a beaker here. You don't want to climb all the way back up, though. That's super slow. When you're doing the 100% run, you come down here, get the beaker, hit restart level, and then you do the death warp. So death warps. If you die going backwards through the entrance door of a room you're in, it places you at the exit door of the room you're in. there's a lot of rooms where it's possible. There's a lot of rooms where it's possible, but not helpful because the death animation takes longer than simply doing the room. This is not one of them. In this room, the death animation is shorter than doing the room. Even doing that, the death animation is shorter. So what you want to do is shift to blue to make the rock fall in you, and then right as it's killing you, go back through the door and hit yes to go back to the previous room. That's a correct warp. And you'll know if you've gotten the warp when you try to pause the game during the death animation. If you cannot pause the game during the death animation, that means you got the warp. If you can pause the game, it means you didn't get the warp. And it's really just kind of a practice thing. There's no trick to it. You just have to die while going backwards through an entrance door. That's all there really is to it. So, next room, you get your next color shard, which is purple. And again, bunny hop up to the shard pedestal as best you can. Anytime you grab a color shard, the exit door from the shard room is always the same color as the shard you just grabbed. So when you grab the shard, immediately switch to something else, anything else. Right now our only option is light blue. Another lag spike as we hit the envelope.
That purple is at the very end of the visible spectrum. It's the hardest color for
Again,
our eyes
bunny
to
hop going up
distinguish.
here. We have our first ladder.
Imagine a shade.
First,
one
well,
step further
whether it's the first or not.
A color beyond what we
You don't want to
can
do this. This is super slow.
We call these impossible.
You want to
colors.
jump up the ladder. And if possible,
And I fear that this
those were pretty good
is
ladder
where
bunny
we currently
hops.
reside.
But ladder bunny
Reality
hops,
is rooted in
basically
our
just what it
perception.
sounds like. As you're
And you
jumping up the
cannot
ladder,
deceive me.
jump again right as you
Do we
land.
even exist
And that's just the fastest way you can do that. If you're about
sure that we
here,
do. I mean,
which is where you want to be
your
on your
reading
last
is
ladder
left
bunny
side.
hop, hold left as you jump up, and you wind up here rather than
I'm
here.
sorry, but
Obviously that helps.
existing in
Bunny
this
hopping
strange
up and
state of
over.
impermanence does funny things to you, Hugh.
And head
It
down.
makes you question.
This spot right here, I call this spot boots on the ground because, I don't know, when you fall on this little long straightaway here, if I'm up here and I'm falling, if I hit that moment sub 5 minutes, that's when I know I'm on a really good pace for any percent with warps. For warpless, I don't know. But for full any percent, if I hit this straightaway here under 5 minutes, that's when I know I'm on a really good pace. Ladder bunny hop. Again, I'm so not used to hearing the sound effect for the ladders because normally you finish 3 rooms by the time that ladder, by the time that letter ends. More bunny hops. So I'm not used to hearing them. Go through here. You know, there's nothing special. No special strats here, just as you would have done it in a casual playthrough. Shift to purple to make light blue appear. Once you're here, shift to that to make that appear. Here's how it looks in full speed. Really nothing special. And here, you want to shift colors right as you hear Hugh's feet hit the ground. So I shift to light blue. Right as I hit the ground, I shift to purple, which lets me go through here. Right as I hit the ground there, I shift to light blue, which lets me fall here. Right as I hit the ground there, I shift to purple. Shift to light blue, pull the purple back, get to the other side of it. And here's an important bit of speedrun tech. Anytime you can jump by a box, which means the box is either taller than Hugh or there's a low ceiling like this in front of him, anytime you can push the box while jumping, it's faster than simply pushing it. Pushing is always faster than pulling anyway, but jump pushing is best of all. Push it into the spike pit and go on. No special strats here. Almost screwed up. No special strats here. Just ascend as fast as you can. And if I'm on a good run, I'll enter this room sub 6 minutes. Time for the next color shard, which is orange. Bunny hopping up the stairs. So here's a route divergence. In Warpless, you would continue to the left, go through the next room, and hear another little bit of story, another one of the letters from Mom. In any percent, you pull up this map. A lot of casual players don't even know this map is here. I certainly didn't the first time I played through the game. I didn't know it was here until I started studying the run. This lets you warp to areas you've already unlocked, and we'll want to warp to this cave hub here. This purple fire. I guess, is that what it looks like? Purple fire? I don't know. But that's where you want to warp. And if you're doing any percent runs, make sure you pull up the map once before you start doing runs, because the first time you pull up the map after you start the game, it takes 3 or 4 seconds for it to load in. All further times, it loads in much faster. So if you pull up the map for the first time when you're doing an actual run, it's the stupidest 3 or 4 second time loss ever. And for the longest time, I didn't understand why it happened, but it does. So you just warp there for any percent, and you're back here. In the Warpless run, the room you will run through with the little bit of story, you will end up dropping down this shaft here. So this is where they will line back up again. Just shift to orange, go down the ladder. And you're in your next area. Another lag spike as we hit that envelope, a fairly subtle, slight one, but still noticeable. Oh, and in the 100% run, you notice on the map we have 2 of 4 from this segment, beakers. In the 100% run, you would go back at that point and get those 2 remaining beakers. Because you have other colors you can shift to.
We discovered more about color than I could ever have imagined. We split light, mapped spectrums, we painted, we laughed. We worked long hours and...
So, ladder bunny hops as and when you can. This is another room you'll have to visit twice for the 100% run, because there is a beaker over here. Can't even see it yet, but it's behind these dark blue obstacles, and we don't have dark blue yet, so we have to go through here. This is one of my favorite stretches of the run. It's so tightly optimized. What am I doing? There's nothing too special here, just really good movement. Now here, this is something I introduced to the run. It seems like the most obvious thing in the world to me, but the runners weren't doing it until I introduced it. I have this orange block here. This block exists to give you a way back up if you fall. You know, you can push it down and... Oh, if I fall, I can just do this. Isn't that nice? But and I'll even start from the top of the level again. Just to show it. Alright, so we're back here. There's this orange block. I would ordinarily, coming up and over, just have shifted to orange before I even get here. That makes it, you know, disappear, of course. That's how it works. You're never going to fall off here. Not unless you specifically try. If you're running along, you don't even have to jump. Just run along and you're here. So you're never going to fall off. Up there, let me be a little bit more detailed about this one. Oh, actually, I can be very detailed about this one. Casual players would have the tendency to do something like that to get on top of this orange. And, you know, that works and everything, but it's super slow. When you're here, if you know that you're jumping to orange, you can jump up, and while you're here, shift to something that's not orange, and the platform below your feet magically appears. Ideally, what you want to do is, you're on purple, you want to start jumping this way, so you're over here by the time you shift, and shift to purple specifically rather than light blue, because the exit door is light blue. I'll show it to you in full speed. That's what it should look like. Believe it or not, you can actually death warp in this room. Try it a couple of times. It is not something you would want to do in a run, because this room takes only a couple of seconds in a run. Yeah, that's the death warp. You go backwards to the door as that box is falling on your head, and whoopee wow, we're at the exit door. But all you have to do is pull the purple pillar just a few pixels to the left. It's just barely not a jump you can make where the purple pillar starts in the room. Shift to purple to make that fall once we're here. You know, again, casual players would have a tendency to do something like that to get on top of it, but you don't have to. You know, if you're here, just shift to light blue or orange, and the purple will appear. You can make that jump. Then when you're here, what you want to do is just fall. That lands you here, and you're pushing it to the right as you fall. Run to the edge of the orange block, jump, and then once you're on top of the purple pillar, it'll be close enough to the exit door that you can just make it. I'll do the room in full speed. That's how fast that room is. This room has a pretty cool movement optimization. If you just walk off the starting ledge there, just walk off and hold right as long as you can before hitting the ground, you'll actually push the orange pillar pretty good distance. So you push the orange pillar pretty good distance, then you jump push it. As mentioned, that's faster than simply pushing it. What we used to do here is push this orange there, shift to orange, and then pull this backward till it was lined up here and jump push that. And, you know, that works, but it's super slow. So you jump push the orange pillar here, shift to orange, push this just a little bit to give you the room to shift to purple, get on the other side of it, shift back to orange, jump push it this way. Pushing is always faster than pulling. This has the added advantage of you being able to line up the stalactite here with the light blue pillar. And then at that point, you just reach the exit. I'll do the room in full speed. Well, fairly charitable of me to call this full speed, but you get the idea. And now the fun begins, because now we have quite a death warp. And the setup for this one is a little weird. So I discovered that however you go through an exit door in one room, he was lined up exactly the same way at the entrance door in the next room. So when I go through this door, when I'm doing any percent, I try to have the cowlick of Hugh's hair and his arm be the only thing from his body model inside the door frame. We go through the door, and you can see on this side, it's the same. The cowlick of his hair and his arm are the only parts of his body model that are inside the entrance door. You can buffer this death warp pretty well. Shift to light blue to make the rocks disappear, then pull the color wheel back up to buffer the input, and just go backwards through the door as the rock hits you, and it skips this incredibly long room. And shift to light blue, shift to purple as the rocks are falling, and then right about there. I don't know if you noticed when I said that. I don't know if I can pause the game in this state. Yeah, right about there. Do you see where the point of this rock is sort of below this line here? That's when I shift back to light blue to make sure the rocks will fall. This is the point where I would shift back and go backwards through the door. That's my visual cue. That way I know the warp will work, and it still doesn't sometimes work a little bit of the time, but with the right door offset, it's relatively easy to get correct. And actually, it just showed you why there. This is why the door offset is correct. It is right on. Do you see this? See, right there, the rock hit me, but I'm not quite dead yet. There's that extra second until right then when I'm dead, is why this door offset works so well. And I wouldn't shift to light blue. Actually, I said light blue earlier. Shift to purple, because the door is light blue. So here it is one more time. Visual cue, go back through the door. Easy game, easy life. Now, if your door offset is not quite right, if you're like over here, it can still work, but the timing is way different. Yeah, see how I'm failing it? Certainly not trying to fail it. Yeah, see, there's my pausing the game to see if I got the warp, and I didn't. So, I am able to pause the game. It's helpful for two reasons, because if you miss a warp, you're going to want to reset the room as fast as possible. So anyway, you see the warp doesn't work there. Or, not very well, anyway. For a warpless run, you just do the room. And you can see how much time the warp saves. You'd be skipping all of this at the expense of one death animation, which, while it's lengthy, it's not this lengthy. And when I am doing warpless, I just shift to orange here. Light blue works as well, because the exit door there is purple, and the bricks here are purple. Now, this is a good example of horizontal momentum mattering, and it matters even for something that's intended. If you try to make the jump from here, just flat-footed, you will not make it. You have to have a running start. I'm pretty sure I can't even jump back. Yeah, I can't. But actually, I wanted to go back to the start of the room anyway and do the warp again, because now I can't do the warp. Okay, this kind of sucks. Why are you doing this to me, game? I'm good at this game. I'm really good at this game. There. Criminy. So you do the warp with the correct door offset. Brings you to here. Because you also do a death warp in this room. I'm actually the only one doing the death warp in this room, which surprises me because it's faster. And not by a little bit. It's like 3 seconds faster. So here's the death warp. Bring those two down. You want the rock on the left to be the one to fall and kill you. That's why we have this same door offset. You'll notice here it's kind of raised above the purple platform, which makes the timing for this a little weird. But you shift to purple. Once it's clear, you do the warp. And this reveals that even on doors that have keys, you can still do the warp to get through them. If you're doing warpless, or if you're doing 100%, you do what I like to call the optimized warpless solution, which I have actually not practiced. So hopefully I can remember how to do it. Yeah, there we go. You move this here. I found this totally by accident. You get this here, you catch this rock, and you shift to light blue, and obviously get past that before it kills you. Jump here. If you're doing 100%, this game has coyote time, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a concept in platformers where the platform below your feet the game will still act as though it's there for, obviously less than a second, just a few frames, but enough time to enable speedrunners to do some funky stuff and enable casual players to, you know, this is actually what it's meant for, to make them feel like they're better at the game than they actually are. So you shift to purple, even though that's the color right below your feet. Jump right after you unshift. Mess it up. And actually, I messed it up entirely. But that's fine. Well, that's not fine. Okay. So you'll shift to purple, jump, and you'll be up above the purple platform. I guess I kind of have to do it in full speed for it to work. Yeah, like that. This is for 100%. You see this room twice in 100%. So you can do this first or second time. Doesn't really matter, but there's a beaker up here. And, you know, whichever of the 3 solutions you use... Oh, I didn't even show the intended solution. Debated. Yeah, the intended solution is the slowest solution, but I will show it. We used to do it in runs. Now, the best setup for this here is to... And actually, this is still slightly optimized over the truly intended solution, because the truly intended solution would be like, come over here and do that, and then jump up here. But the slightly optimized intended solution is to have Hughes back to the door, and let that be your visual cue from when you start to stop moving the black block. Jump over here, shift to purple, survive the earthquake. Having the black block within the light blue enables this. And again, however you get through, just get through. Got some skeletons with some saucy one-liners. Bunny hop up here. There's not really any strats in this room. There's one tiny little thing. You just shift to colors as the boulders roll past. Here's the one tiny little thing. You can jump over 2 spike pits there. Did you see how I jumped from here to here? There's nothing to it. It's just, you give it your... That was fun. That boulder totally hit me and it didn't kill me. You just give it your fullest jump. And you'll jump over 2 spike pits. Next color shard, which is pink. Bunny hop up to the shard platform. And again, you just got pink, so the exit door is pink. That means when you come to the end of the room, you want to be on something other than pink. A slight one there, but definitely still a lag spike when you hit that envelope.
I do know that Dr. Gray and I spent many a time together. I would compliment him on his work, and his cheeks would flush with a pink...
In the 100% run...
He'd notice and change the subject, embarrassed.
You have to see this area twice because there's a beaker behind this yellow here. I can't tell you how many casual players I've seen come here and shift to orange, like over and like, oh my god, isn't that orange? Can't I get there? No, you can't. You get yellow later on. And you have to... This is actually the section with the most backtracking in the 100% run. Go through the door here. There's a couple little things in this room. Again, you want to jump push the block as far as you can. Jump push it here. I'm going to restart the room just so I can show it properly. Jump push the block here. Jump push it off the edge. But as it falls off the edge, shift to light blue. One of the keys to the way gravity and physics work in this game is that if something's in midair, but you've shifted to its color, it stays in midair. It's as if it doesn't exist anymore. So we're going to exploit that a little bit. We head down here, shift to orange, obviously go into this area before the blue block falls and kills us, and then pull it. I think you're expected to go from here to there and like down the ladder, and then shift to purple, and then shift to orange, and then pull it. But that's way slower. This jump here, you can actually make this jump from as far away as, I believe you can make it from even this far away, but it is really hard. Yeah. So as you're not going to be pushing, you're going to be pulling the block. As you're pulling the block, you have a couple of options. You can pull it to like there and just go up and over. Or you can pull it here and try to make that jump. But honestly, if you're trying to make that jump, you need such a big running start anyway. You're going to end up on the far end of the blue block. What I've taken to doing is, I pull the block, I pull it about this far, jump up and over, and I give it one of those to get it closer. And that's a much easier jump. Shift to light blue here so the block we just jumped off of disappears, allowing us to peacefully pull the pink block through it. Shift to purple, shift to orange. Shift to light blue. And I'm actually since I'm using my right thumb to hold down X to pull the block, I'm actually using my right index finger to do those color shifts. In italics is mentioned using his nose. So you might get, you just do whatever's comfortable for you. You might end up developing some interesting kind of claw grip. Obviously shift pink to get through there, and you're at the exit. I'll do the room in full speed. I don't think I mentioned jump pushing the pink block. It's obviously not essential, but you can, and it's a little bit faster. Now this room looks super complicated. It is super not. There's 6 color shifts you need to do. Purple, orange, blue, orange, purple, orange. Purple. And then if you just remember that order, you just get as far as you can before shifting. So as far as you can get here is there. So once you're here, orange. Get as far as you can. Going this way, If you don't know, you might be tempted to go this way and end up like, oh my god, I'm so stuck. But you're not, really. But we had purple, orange, blue. That opens the way to the key. Orange. Go to the left as far as you can. Shift purple there. Get here as far as you can. Orange. Shift to anything, neutral color, and you're at the exit. I'll do the room in full speed, and honestly, my character should never stop horizontal momentum. Yeah, optimally, you really would be moving as if these various color obstacles aren't even here. So there's some cool optimizations in this room. You shift to light blue to walk through this pillar. Once you're on this side, go here, shift to light blue again to... Well, you shift to light blue to get to this area. And then shift to orange to get through it. Shift to light blue again when you're here to make it disappear. Push the orange block past. You kind of have to get the feel for it. It's not that bad, but... At about here, shift to either pink or purple. I tend to prefer pink. And you can move both pillars at the same time. Deposit one there, one there. It doesn't really matter which one. That's the order I typically do it in. I shift to pink again. Gets us here. We can push that off. Shift to light blue, shift to orange, shift to light blue. Again, we can move both pillars at the same time. Now, when you're here, that's as far as you can move the light blue pillar, but that's as far as you need to move the light blue pillar, of course. So, as you're doing it, as you're jump pushing, you'll shift to light blue so you can move this again. Don't move that movable purple box, but shift to purple here so you can get through. You want this orange pillar to be as far to the left as possible while still covering some part of this gap. Come back, shift to light blue, shift to pink, or orange, I guess, but pink is easiest. Now, if you're running here, if you're at run speed, if you have horizontal momentum and you run off, you'll always fall on whatever's here. Just push this off, come back, push the orange pillar the rest of the way. This is pretty good, but again, you only need like a sliver of this to be able to make the jump to the left. Shift to orange to get through it, shift to whatever to get here. When you're on there, up and over, and you're at the exit. I'll do the room in full speed. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty well put together. You know, it's optimized over certain previous solutions where we would be pushing or where we would be pulling instead of pushing, specifically that orange pillar. You can actually even get it so that this movable purple block here doesn't end up all the way to the left. It's just a few frames here, a few frames there worth of time save. This room is fairly infamous. This room contains a skip that I found. It's a little bit finicky, but I have a pretty good setup for it. So let me explain that a little bit better. You shift to purple right as you enter the room. Move the black pillar a little bit to the right. Shift to light blue. This allows you to move them both at the same time, and you can jump push. When they're all the way to the right here, jump and then shift to purple. I was going to say whatever, but specifically purple. For whatever reason, this light blue block extends, you can even see it visually, it extends a good few pixels to the left of where the black pillar ends, so you can totally stand here. Go up and over, shift to neutral color, pink or orange. Again, pink is the one I usually remember most easily. Push those off, pull the light blue block, and push these ones back the same way. Now, I've been struggling a little bit with optimizing where to leave the black and purple here so that you can jump back on them when you come back around. The safest way is to line them up with the door, but you can leave them shorter than that. So you're up here, and now here's the skip. I'll just say this right now. The intended solution for this puzzle is to, I don't know if you saw the orange block up here. The intended solution is to put this orange block in this spike pit, but you don't have to. And I prefer to be on light blue here for whatever reason. You can simply fall from here to this safe platform here. You can't hug the wall on the way down. You have to have horizontal momentum going into it. So it's tricky, but it's perfectly doable. My visual cue for it is when this little nub on the back of Hugh's head is equal to this symbol right here. You fall off, grab the key, and there you go. That's the skip. And then you wind up back up there. I'll try to do the room in full speed. I'll probably miss the skip this time. No, I still got it. So yeah, if this black pillar here is lined up with the door, then it's definitely always going to be close enough to be able to reach from this little platform I'm on here, because that's what you have to do to get up and over. But it's possible to reach it when it's further away. And to get it just right would definitely save some frames. There's a death warp in this room. It's one of the easier ones. You just shift to purple and go backwards. So for warpless runs, we would just do the normal solution, but do it as optimally as possible. You want to move this purple block until it's right about level with this black platform up above it. Shift to purple, shift to orange as you jump. You know, you're here, you jump, and while you're in midair, you shift to orange. That enables you to get on here. Over here, up and over. Pull this out just a pixel. You want to be on orange here to let that fall down. Push this back a little bit. Shift to light blue, fall through here. I used to like go all the way around and climb up here and go up the ladder. That's way slower. Pull the purple back. And then if you did this right, that would be here. Grab the key. And you should not have to move, and I didn't. You should not have to move this purple block at all. You can have the horizontal momentum going to the left to reach the exit door. No strats in this room, just do it right. Well, actually, there is one little thing. Shift to the colors to get thrown. If you shift to pink here, all of the platforms in this next area are present, and you don't have to shift in midair. So here's the one little bit of strats this room does have. Yeah. Here's what you're expected to do. Jump, you know, and like when you're here, shift to blue or something so purple shows up, and then shift to purple so blue's there, and then shift there to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And now I have to do the first part of the room again. That's what you're expected to do. Again, shift to pink here. Shift to purple here. Here's what you can do. Jump up to blue like normal, but get a running jump off of blue, and just a slight little bit of coyote time, and you don't even have to have this purple here. You can just land on the pink down below. Do it again, and there we are. Saves you minuscule amount of time, but it saves you certainly the aggravation of having to shift in midair. This is a room I suck at. So I've been trying to get quite better at it. You shift to a neutral color as you come in, push this forward, shift to orange, pull purple back, shift to purple there. Oh, I'm doing it full speed first. I'm gonna do it full speed second, so I'll take it a little slower. Push this orange forward. Get up here. Shift to orange. What you want to do is pull the purple block back. That you see how it's within the black block now, the orange pillar. Shift to purple. Jump push the purple as you're moving to the left. And if you do it right, you make yourself a little staircase. Shift to purple to make those disappear. Shift to whatever to make them reappear. If your first block back, you can push this back a little bit. Shift to orange to make it disappear. You can jump push here, and I think I do it that way in runs, but the timing is fairly tight. Ideally, what you want to do is shift to purple before the black block hits the end of this platform here. So you can pull it back. Shift to light blue to make the blue blocks up there disappear. And this is ideal when the orange is here, the purple is here, and neither of them at this point of the room is inside the black block. So you come up here, you want to shift to orange here, so the orange block down below disappears. Push it off. Push these back toward the center if you like. If not, you'll come back and do it in a moment. Shift to neutral color. You see how the light blue and the orange are within each other. That means when you push one, you push both. Get this to past the midway point. Shift to purple, make that disappear. Jump through, shift to orange. Shift to neutral color. There's a little tiny optimization here based on your ability to move Hugh around in midair. You know, obviously casual players are going to do like that, but actually even casual strats, you kind of have to do the moving around a little bit. You can stop like right here and wind up. You see how I'm still in the area where, if you do it right, where the key is. Minuscule time save, but again, one of those things. You look after the frames, the seconds will mind themselves. Push this back. You only have to push it back a little bit before you can shift to orange and make it disappear. Get through it. Shift to neutral color and get up and to the end. I'll do the room at full speed and probably muck it up. And didn't really get that part right. Debated. Well, I got the hard parts right and messed up the easy parts. Alright, next color shard, which is red. This is another route divergence. In Warpless, you would continue to the left and go through the next room that has a letter from Mom in it. And any percent, we map warp. And the room you go in, I'm just trying to remember where you exit from in... Oh, I remember. In the Warpless run, you would exit from here. And, you know, as you're coming to the left from up there, that's where the routes meet up again. So next area, a little bit more story. You don't need to color shift there. That was kind of a nervous twitch.
It doesn't take long for it to grow.
Bunny hop up some stairs. Listen to Anna Acton's lovely voice.
And I wasn't prepared to let it wilt and die. The university claimed my experiments were unethical, that altering the fabric of our reality was dangerous. They were unflinching. My research was confiscated and my contract terminated. Following my expulsion, I was left with no choice but to uproot and move us both far away. I knew of a small fishing village a boat ride from the university, where I hoped my reputation wouldn't precede me. You and I moved into a humble home, which is now where you spent most of your childhood.
Alright. This is a puzzle that confuses a lot of casual players. Because what you need is for the blocks down below to be in a different order, color-wise, than the walls up above. So as you come forward, you want to jump push this light blue block to the left. If you do it right, yes. This is what you want. You want to be able to get to the right of it down here. I had lots of runs last night when I was running for a world record where it would wind up like this, and I'm not able to get in there, so I had to come around, pull it, and then go back around, which is not a lot slower, but it's obviously a little slower. Push it forward just a little. Now, you want to stop when this red block is on this switch. I even pushed it maybe a little bit far right now. Like, stop, like, right there is perfect. Shift to orange, you can make the jump. Shift to red when you're here. Push this down. This one's a lot easier to be able to, as you push it, to be able to get behind it. I don't think I've ever not been able to get behind it. Push this forward. Basically, you want to shift to light blue as early as you can. And if you get it right, there's your correct color order. See, red is governing the orange, light blue is governing red, orange is governing light blue. And now you can just run through. And I don't know that this is better in any way, but I always like to hit the switch and jump push that as I come through, and you're at the exit. I'll do the room in full speed. Oops. That's pretty simple once you get the knack of it. Next room is a room even I don't fully understand. You go through, shift to the colors of these skulls as they're coming. You can jump over them, but it's faster to simply shift to their color. Get to here, shift to, and I'm going to say a neutral color, but a neutral color in this case is something that's not red or blue. So it limits your choices a little. I usually go to purple, just because purple. Run through here as fast as you can. If you can get through that door before this red skull falls, that's the fastest you can do the room. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I have not yet figured out what governs that. And there's the exit. But yeah, I'll go through here. I'll try to do it as fast as possible. Hopefully at least show fast skull cycle, even if I don't know how to get it consistently. If you get through the third door before it shuts, that way you know you're on fast cycle. And that was fast cycle. If you get fast cycle, you will be hit by this red skull falling, so you need to shift to red either before you jump or just after, because because I'm telling you, the red skull is like right here. Huh? It's not? Oh, it must have already fallen. Anyway, you do need to shift to red there, or the red skull will kill you. This room's got some pretty tight optimizations. First, you just pull that orange block to the right to be able to hit the mini ladder to go up and over, come down, pull this light blue out, shift to light blue, shift to purple, give it a couple of jump pushes because you can, get it over the gap, shift to neutral color, which is anything but purple, go back up and over. Now here's the fun part. Get the orange on the switch, pull the light blue back, shift to orange, get the light blue on the switch, shift to light blue, push the orange back, shift to neutral color. That makes the light blue reappear over the switch. You can jump push it a little bit and you're at the exit. I'll try to do it in full speed. This is definitely one of those rooms where there's more going on than it seems. That was not bad. Alright, now we have thwomps introduced. I just called these things thwomps because they reminded me of, thwomps from Mario Brothers. That's actually what they're called in the game code, thwomps. And most casual players, when I see them do this, they fall down here and then jump up. But you don't have to. You can totally just jump the pit. Small thing, but the small things add up, as I keep saying. Walk through here. Let the blue thwomp be aggroed, but switch to light blue as it falls, makes it disappear. Jump up, switch to neutral color. I always do purple. And actually, that's slow. Let me show you the right way to do this. Come up here, aggro the blue thwomp. It's falling. Jump on it. What you want to do is jump and switch to light blue before it reaches its top position. Small time save. Push this down, switch to purple. That again has it in midair, although that's irrelevant. Switch to neutral color. You only need to pull this block about this far, believe it or not. Okay, maybe a little bit further. But you can, you know, obviously when I see casual players play this, they pull it like this far. And you definitely don't have to pull it that far. So once you're down here, and I hope that was clear, I kind of breezed through that, but I just shifted to purple to get through those bricks, shifted to light blue to fall through the thwomp, shifted to purple again to get on this side of it, shifted to light blue again to make the thwomp disappear. Once you're here, you give it 3 jump pushes and then push it normally. If you give it jump pushes the whole way through, the thwomp on the left will fall and kill you. You know, I'll even show that. I'll just show it right now. Since we don't need the key, we won't be completing the room. So yeah, if you just jump push this the whole way, no bueno. You have to jump push it a couple of times and then normal push it. That's actually not even what I was expecting to have happen there. But it's still no bueno. Now if you jump push it... That's what I was expecting to have happen. But you gotta tap the... Just the operative point is you gotta tap the brakes a little bit at that point. Waiting really is one of the more underrated skills for a speedrunner to develop. So again, you come over here. You don't get the key, and then you get the key. Basically, when you're under the leftmost thwomp's aggro range, that's when you slow down a little. And that was basically the room done at full speed anyway, so I'm just going to continue on. Finicky skip in this room. Run onto the switch to aggro the thwomp, shift to a neutral color. Come up here, move this block down. If you do this just right, you can get through the door with the thwomp only coming down once. What you want to do is put the red block on the absolute edge of the button so that the thwomp sees it, but it won't actually be the block that enables the pressure pad that lets you go through the door. It'll be the thwomp. If I do this right. Nope. Okay, that's what it should look like, but obviously those little stutter steps at the beginning there were not correct. Let's try it again, because I could use the practice anyway. Yeah, that's correct. That's what it should look like. Now this room, this is another, you know, watch the frames and the seconds will take care of themselves kind of rooms. I think what you're expected to do is to jump here and then jump there and then like jump here and then like jump here. And that's like super slow. Here's what you can do instead. I actually picked this up from In Italics, who recommends to people not to do it this way, and I don't understand why. But you aggro the first thwomp, be on like the edge of his head, jump up at a point where the crest of your jump will put you past the level of the thwomp on the other side. That's what aggroes the thwomp up above. As the thwomp up above falls, jump to your left and move back to the right in midair and get killed. It's not as hard as it sounds. You can see how much faster this is than going from side to side. You could do that one with a color shift, but there's really no reason to. This one I do jump back and forth because you don't have to aggro something up above it. You can... I don't know if casual players do that for some reason, but obviously there's no reason to. Very cool skip in this room. Pardon me. I was pog-champing the first time I saw this skip. So you get to the top of the room as normal. And also I have a setup for the second part of this solution that, for me, changed this skip from maybe a 10% success rate to, for all intents and purposes, 100%. Get to the bottom here. Notice how we didn't move the light blue block. Get through this last thwomp. What I do is aggro the black thwomp to the right of me when I get down here. Do that. So that way he'll be coming back up when I need to step into that area. So what we do here is, right as that thwomp where the light blue block was on, right as it starts to raise, shift to light blue. Remember that when you shift to a color, away with you, Xbox screen. Remember that when you shift to a color and an object of that color is in midair, it keeps it in midair. So right now, that light blue block is just chilling up there. And since I aggro the thwomp to my right, I can run here and do that. It's chilling there, so we shift to purple to make the purple thwomp disappear, and voila. You don't have to worry about pushing the box, here and all of that BS. I'll do the room in full speed. Yeah, before I started moving to the right to aggro this thwomp, it had a strong tendency to kill me when I tried to do this solution. It's possible to do it without aggroing that thwomp, but aggroing the thwomp makes it, for all intents and purposes, 100% success rate for me, and it's not slower. It doesn't cost any time. You're still waiting for this line of thwomps to bring the light blue block down to here. Alright, so next color shard, which is dark blue. Again, bunny hop up to the shard platform. And you don't want to jump there. I don't know why I jumped there. I like to test Hugh's skull strength as I move through this little section here. Just for funsies. Big lag spike as we hit that envelope. Now this, you might call this a ladder maze, but it's really short and really hard to mess up.
I spent hours pouring.
If you need to practice this at all, practicing it a couple of times will have the right route basically in muscle memory.
Stood out above all else. Blue, or specifically the absence of it. Other colours were detailed at length, but not blue. It was never mentioned.
Oh, and I've kind of
before.
scrimped
The
on
word
talking
simply
about
didn't exist.
beaker locations for the hundo,
Could they
but
not distinguish
as I
them?
said before, that you can find those just from watching runs or from reading a walkthrough, for goodness sakes. All right, so once you're here, this is a little bit weird. You go through the door here. Now you can absolutely, as I don't do it, you can absolutely jump from here straight. You can jump from there, the edge, straight to this second block. I just can't seem to do it. But it's a little awkward to do as you're running through here and you come through here. The best thing to do is to just move to the right, jump to here, and then from here, jump from this second dark blue block to the platform on the other side. Even though you can... Yes, you can! Jump from here to there. There's no need to. I think it's probably slower anyway. So you shift the color of the balloons. Placement of the orange block is a little bit precise. You want to get it like as far to the right of the switch as possible, because if you do, you'll be able to jam this door and not have it shut all the way. It'll save you a little bit of time coming back. And again, this time you definitely only want to hit this box coming through. It's not that hard to do. You just got to get the timing right. And this allows you to pull this box without having to shift to red. And you want to have it on the far left edge of the switch up top. I'll do the room at full speed. You know, and full speed would involve coming from the previous room. I don't think that's quite right with the placement of the orange block up on top. You can get it to a position where it'll appear to jam the door, but you can't pull it, and I think that's what's going to happen here. Nope. Okay. I got it. Alright, into this room. This room, I don't know if this room was meant to be as simple as it is. You just jump over here, get the key, shift to orange, raise these up, jump on back, get up here, shift to neutral color, and that's all this room is. That's all this room is. This room used to scare me a little bit. It's not so bad anymore. There's nothing really to it. You just go through the room. Here's a beaker location. You do have to come back here. This is actually the end of the backtracking in the 100% run. Because you come back here with yellow, you can get through here and go up and get the beaker up top there. This is the only semi-hard part of this area, because the balloons for this block are red. And so is the wall here. I mean, that's the same for all of these cases, but once you're here, shifting to pink... Here, I'll show you what I mean. If I was to shift to light blue, say, and then get up here, and then do that, you know, that makes it a little bit awkward. It's still doable, but it's a little bit awkward. I'll show you the way I prefer to do it. Is to, you know, we're here, shift to orange, then when the red balloons hit the top, that's when I shift to red. Little bit more momentum that way. I think it's a tiny skosh faster. This room, I love this room because this room has a skip that I found in my casual playthrough. Sadly, the existing runners already knew about it, so I didn't get to introduce it to the run, but I'm still very proud of myself for finding this skip in my casual playthrough. Push that off. And what you're expected to do is to take this movable light blue block and put it in the spike pit, but you don't have to. You just reach the end of this platform with horizontal momentum, jump off, grab the key, turn back around, and turn back around to the left as you're falling, and you'll land on this platform here. It's not as hard as it sounds. May take a couple of tries, you know, to get it just right, but, you know, okay. Now we get to do it again. It's definitely not as hard as you might think. Yeah, the one sort of janky thing here is you have to You know, so you're like here. You have to shift to purple to get through this wall here, but that makes the block on the left disappear, so you have to shift to neutral color here to make the sliding wall slide away. Yeah, it's really not that hard. I think the developer anticipated this solution and tried to make it not work, because you can see that this platform here, this block here, extends slightly further to the right than the platform does. But if you have horizontal momentum going into the jump, it's really not that hard to make. And then you just finish the room. There's a couple of deceptively obvious optimizations for this room. You shift to light blue to make the balloons on the pink block fall, but once you're on the pink block, don't just shift to whatever, shift to red, because that makes the red balloons on the other side there disappear and makes those blocks fall, which is what we need. Shift to purple real fast to get through there, then shift to red again as you're falling. You know, I'll show you what it looked like the way we used to do this room. You know, and we just shift to, you know, oh, Zany Law's neutral color. See how much slower this is? But in anyway, you're here, get the key, shift back to red as soon as possible. Shift to orange, you can just go up and through here. Move this to the left onto the switch. In a 100% run, there is a beaker over here that I believe you need the block to reach. Yes, you do. Now, once you hit the switch, I've noticed that in italics runs all the way back over here and does this to get back on there. That's, you know, no disrespect intended, but kind of dumb. All you have to do is, once the block is on the switch there, shift to orange. Once you're through, shift to red. That's all you have to do. It's abundantly faster. Shift to neutral color to get back up to here. I'll do the room at full speed. And you could definitely do the side with the switch first, but I prefer, for whatever reason, to do the side with the key first. Alright, nothing too special about this room. I call this room the Indiana Jones room because it, to me, evokes the scene in the Indiana Jones movie where he's running from the big boulder, because really that's what you're doing in this room. Yeah, or you could call it the Dying Light room, because there's that scene in Dying Light where the parkour trainer says to the player character, if you stop, you're probably dead. Which is very true in this room. You know, I tend to be on light blue when I get to this part here, so you have to shift to, or dark blue. Yeah, the room starts in dark blue, right? Yeah, the room starts in dark blue. So when you get to this first part with the crumbling color blocks, you know, I shift to light blue there because that enables you to get through the rest of this part without shifting to anything else. Plus, it eliminates that wall there. It's already gone when you go through it. You just shift to colors as you go through them. Bunny hop as best you can up here. Obviously, not dying is the first priority. Last one of these is orange. I shift to light blue, going through there, because again, it gets rid of that. Alright. Time for our next color shard, which is yellow. And again, a route divergence here. In Warpless, you would continue to the right and go through the room with the little bit of story and lore in it, the letter from Mom, and any percent you just warp back to the cave hub. And I believe you emerge from up there. But you just wind up here, and you can just fall down this ladder. You obviously don't want to climb down it. Now, you can even hear them from this side of the door that there's going to be lasers coming up. The first 3 laser rooms shift to red instantly when you enter them, because that enables you to just run straight through the red there. I can't tell you how many times before I got in the habit of shifting to red instantly when I entered a laser room. I would just go through the door and, oh, I'll look at chat, and oh my god, what just happened? You know? So you... door confirmation boxes. You really do want to go through the door, shift to red. Shift to red. Shift to red, not pink. You know, before the room even loads if you can. Do it here too. You really just need to shift to any color other than the dark blue that the room starts in here. But I always do red just because it's easier to remember. Shift to red, shift to red, shift to red. Because the exit door in this room is dark blue, so you need to be on a different color than that, and red's just the easiest to remember.
And observed it, yet could not experience it themselves. Explaining to them the sensation of pain is like me explaining color.
Oh, we still hear the alerts. Gosh darn it.
I wonder, Hugh, if we will be able to share.
So to future viewers, I am streaming this on Twitch right now, and I just got a raid from a dear friend. Hello everyone, I'm kind of not doing the chat interaction thing right now other than questions about the Hugh run, but thank you all for stopping by. Really do appreciate it. Anyway, back to Hugh. In this room, another room where you want to shift to red instantly when coming through because it's red, light blue, red. You see what I mean here? The exit door for this room is dark blue, so you go through the exit door, red, light blue, red. And this room control you a little bit. Shift to the colors as you go through them. The way this room control you is because you have light blue or dark blue behind you, purple ahead of you. They're right next to each other on the color wheel. So you can totally try to shift to one, but accidentally shift to the other and wind up hitting a laser, which is no fun because lasers hurt. You know, and, well... See, there I did it. I shifted to purple when I meant to shift to light blue, or dark blue, I mean. Shift to purple. Once you're here, you can do a coyote time jump to move from this light blue block through the light blue laser. What I often see casual players do is this, and certainly that works, but it's slower. Best thing to do is jump off, shift to light blue in midair, and you have the key. And there's a few different ways to get back to the exit there. I just choose the way that minimizes potential laser interaction, because laser interaction is just not a good idea. It's a battle you never win. Do the room in full speed. And there you go. Really tight optimizations in this room. You want to start moving to the right as fast as possible. Hit red. Hit red as you jump from this little area here that was previously red. Obviously, it makes the red disappear, but it makes this laser disappear too. As you're coming through here, shift to purple, same thing. There is a beaker down below here. You actually can reach it before this laser here even moves to the left for one cycle. It is... You basically have to do the room task perfectly. I have done it, but it's ridiculously hard. So we get to there, and we want to shift to dark blue here to make the last laser disappear. Shift to a neutral color to make the dark blue tiles below you reappear, and you're at the exit door. I'll do the room in full speed. I actually have to exit and come back in to get the lasers on the same cycle. Shift to red, shift to purple, shift to dark blue, shift to neutral color. It's very simple. but it's definitely something you might need to practice a couple of times just to get it right.
I will always be at your side.
Yeah. Thanks to anyone who follows. I thought I disabled the alerts, but we can still hear them. Cool, really cool skip in this room. I'll show the intended solution first, I guess, because I haven't done it in a while. The intended solution is to have this block the laser, come down here, move this forward, shift to neutral color here, shift to light blue there. Then this block is in the spike pit, and hey, we're at the exit. Wasn't that a cool room? What you want to do instead, and this is definitely going to take a little bit of practice, shift to light blue to get through the laser, shift to orange, shift to light blue, shift to orange, and I have actually lost runs at this point to shifting back to light blue too fast when I'm still within this orange block here and I can't shift, and I keep going to the left at full speed, and oh my god, I hit the laser. But you shift to light blue to get rid of the laser. Now you're here. You might think, oh my god, how can we get through here? Well, here's where horizontal momentum comes back into play, and here's a little trick we're going to be doing a lot in some later rooms. It utilizes the horizontal momentum, as I've been mentioning, and it utilizes coyote time. What you're going to do is run at the laser, shift to the color of the laser, which is also the color below your feet, but the coyote time means the platform will still be there for a few frames even after it's no longer visible. Jump, and since you have the horizontal momentum, you'll get through the laser. This one's actually one of the easier ones. Oh, let's not do that. This one's actually one of the easier ones because there's no other laser right next to it, and because the jump distance puts you far enough that you won't have to shift back to any color in particular to make the platform reappear below your feet. The platform that you'll land on is black, so it's always there. Here's what it looks like. That's not what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It's really not as hard as it looks. You just have to have horizontal momentum going towards the laser, shift to the color of the laser, jump, then shift back. You're actually not out of the woods yet, though, if you get past the laser, because you need a coyote time jump to get from here over the spike pit to the door. So you have to have a little running momentum going into it, and jump just as you were about to fall off the platform. I don't think I can jump back, no. But I will show... We'll show you what happens when you don't have that horizontal momentum and get the right coyote time jump. See, it's really not hard. If you're just like here, you're never gonna make it. Debated. Yeah, this is not even as hard as I'm making it look with all these fails. But yeah, you're past the laser. Run and jump. Do the room one more time at full speed. And credit to Medicius for finding this. I did not find this. And there we go. Really big optimization in the next room that really doesn't look like that much, but if you get it, it saves like 15 seconds. It's a massive time save. So you get to here, and then you want to buffer this like right about there is when you want to start to do the next part. When the red laser is right as it hits this line in the red block there, that's when you want to do the part I didn't do. So I have to go back to the previous room, come back in to get the lasers on the expected cycle. You're here. You can buffer it by pulling up the color wheel. Shift to red, jump, shift back, go here, shift to pink. No, I screwed it up. It's really hard to do this slowly in a way that explains it. So once you're here, that's the easy part. Once you're here, you want to shift to neutral color. I usually do, I think, dark blue to make the pink platforms appear. Jump on the pink, but almost as fast as you jump on the pink, shift to pink to make the laser above you disappear. You still have coyote time with the pink platform below your feet. That lets you jump through the pink laser, which in turn lets you skip waiting out an entire cycle for it to get past you to do the room the normal way. Yeah, and I can't do it with a pause in the middle. That's what it looks like. It doesn't really look that impressive, honestly, but it saves a whopper of time. It really does. And then, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And then you can kind of do the same thing with the red laser here. I've not yet worked out a way to do anything with the red laser that saves time. But I tell you, I saw a casual player the other day end up here. And I'm wondering if maybe this might be a way to save time. It's something I'm still kind of working on. But if we could be like here and... Well, it probably doesn't. But if we could be like here and... Yeah, I don't know. I have been able to skip past that red laser using the same little trick as the pink laser in the middle. But I'm unconvinced if it's worth doing. See, that's a mess up, because you need to shift to pink there. Yeah, this doesn't look like much, but it's a big time save. This is something to definitely practice. And that's a mess up. The timing on it is very tight. You know how I said to start the second part when the laser was hitting this line in the red brick here and just about to go through it? If you start it too early, you'll end up jumping on the pink laser up above, which obviously that's a bad idea. Child versus laser, laser wins every time. And that was just barely too slow or too fast. I'm actually not even sure, because the only problem there was I didn't have the coyote time with the pink block. So there, we got it. Yeah, so you see there how you can jump off the red and still end up going forward. That's what has me wondering if there's maybe some additional skip there with the red laser on top. If there is, it wouldn't be as massive as the one with the pink laser, because you don't have to wait out a full cycle to get past it. You would only be skipping like the duration of the laser going the length of one block. And I just totally did this room without saying anything, but this room is exceedingly simple. There's really nothing to it. Just put the block through here. Although now, having said that, there is a strat here. I do not recommend it for RTAs. Maybe for a segmented run or a task run, you can actually run through these lasers here. I've done it. It saves 1 second, and it's less than a 1% success rate. So, segmented run, yes. Task, yes. RTA, I don't think so. I'll try it a couple of times. I won't try it very much. Yeah, the idea is you shift to the yellow laser as you're passing through so that you're out of the kill zone for the red laser as you're passing through, and make the yellow laser disappear. You make the red laser up here as you're through the kill zone for it. It's extremely difficult. I can only remember one time I've ever gotten it to work. So even saying a 1% success rate might be overstating it. But stuff like this makes me think it would be so much fun to task this game. Anyway, enough of that. You just go up and over. Yeah, if you didn't have to pull the block through, the double laser skip would probably save more time, and it would probably actually be a lot easier, too. Let me see if I can get it this way. No. Okay, but it is probably a lot easier doing it that way. Because there is a skip later on that involves that same technique that we do. I said do. That we do utilize in the run. And it's pretty consistent. You just get the key, come on down, hit the door. Now, as you head into this next area, you know, I have to talk about it a little bit before we go through the door, because you really only get one shot per run at the next area. With the lasers on the right cycle, what you want to do is head to the right fast and shift to yellow either mid-jump or just before you jump. And if you do, you can get through the next room in about 4 seconds. See, that's not right. I didn't do the jump right. Yeah, and see, the lasers aren't on the right cycle anymore. So that's disappointing. But I'll wait until they're on the cycle they would have been on, which is roughly this. And I still missed the jump. That's what it should look like. It's not that hard to get it right, but it's also not that hard to get it wrong. There's a beaker down here for the 100% run. This room, oh god, I love this room. This is probably top 3, definitely. I don't know if it's top 1, but definitely top 3 hardest rooms in the game in a casual playthrough. And we've got a couple of solutions for it in the speedrun. I'll show you the old solution first. This solution is much safer. Old solution is you shift to yellow to get rid of the yellow laser to my left there. You wind up on here, and you just have a lovely little time waiting this out. It's hard to say what the intended solution for this room is because there's just so many ways to get through it. Shift to red, you kind of have to wait here and fail that jump. But actually that part doesn't matter because the second part of the room is the same no matter what you do the first part. Here's the optimal way to do it. You shift to light blue, come to this platform here. As you reach the platforms in the middle, what we're going to do is jump, shift to purple to make the first purple laser, the laser we currently see on the screen here. We'll make that laser disappear. While we're in midair, one of these platforms will block the other lasers. As we come down, we shift to light blue again to make this laser again disappear and not kill us. And you have to be like toenails on the platform on the far left edge of this for it to work. Otherwise, the platform up above will not end up blocking this laser. You won't... The laser will hit you, is the upshot. That's what it looks like. And I wish I could slow it down and explain it in greater detail, but I really can't. I'll show it again. Yeah, I actually kind of suck at the easy solution nowadays, because if you do the slower, easier part of the first half of the room, the platforms in this half are on a different cycle than if you do the solution I just did. And now you get to here, and it's super simple. So I'll do it again. And it's definitely a hard room. It's not as easy as I'm making it look. It's one that will take a lot of practice. You can actually death warp in this room. I think it's actually a few frames faster than doing the room, but it's really, I don't want to say hard to get it right, but kind of picky to get it right. I'll try it a few times. Or, that's not how you do it. That's also not how you do it. What am I doing? It's red. Oh, that... See, when I shifted to the right color, I got it first try. See, there's our death warp. But it's really pretty low percentage, and if it's faster than simply doing the room, it's not by enough to worry about. Because it's obviously a tremendous time loss to get it wrong. That's all the room is, normally. This is all you need to do, you know, for a casual playthrough, warpless playthrough. Warpless run, I mean. Or even the any percent run, I'm still doing this solution. But there, I got the death warp again. So, go figure. However, you get through it. Come to this room. This room has a death warp in it, but I'm actually going to do the intended solution first. I just remember pink, yellow, pink. To get through there, grab the key. Pink again to shut that. Pull this as far to the left as we can. Dark blue to get through it. Light blue to make the door retract. Jump push. Now we just get things out of our way. And we're out of here. The death warp is simply you shift to light blue to make this go away. That will have this laser come through here and make this door open. It's tough, but you can get through the door and successfully do the death warp before the laser hits you. And that was not it. That was also not it. That was also not it. There we go. I definitely recommend doing the death warp in any percent runs because you can see, you saw how long it took to do the room the normal way, and you saw how fast it was to reset even after a missed death warp. You would have to miss the death warp more than 10 times for it to be slower than simply doing the room. And in my PB, I got it first try, so it's a time loss waiting to happen, but it's still a great strat. See there, got it first try there. There's not really any strats in this room, but it is pretty well optimized. Shift to red there. Shift to... a little too fast. I mucked it up. Red, blue, as you get through this top section, and you're at the exit. So let's try that again. Blue about here. No, not red. Anything but red. Over here. Red about there. Blue there. Red, blue. That was not bad. If you do it perfectly, none of the 4 doors, walls, whatever you want to call them on the top, will impede you at all. And only the last one impeded me a little there, so that was not bad. There's no real strats in this room, you just do the room the normal way. For here, you just go forward to the right. One thing I think is more fun, but sadly it's slower, is to get on top here. This is how you would get the beaker in this room. I think that's pretty cool, but it's about 3 seconds slower, so obviously we can't do it that way. Final color shard here, which is green. We have a route divergence here. And I've definitely seen casual players fill out their color wheel and think, oh, I'm at the end of the game. Nope. I will show one little bit of 100% movement tech here because I think it's pretty sweet. Come back here, aggro that, and get killed by it. Aggro that as it's falling, shift to red, and you can get up and over. And you have to do it the second time through because green is there. Get the beaker, hit restart level again, and you get through there. I think that's pretty well put together. But yeah, in any percent, once you get the green shard, you would map warp, not to the cave hub, but to the town. Oh, and that's one thing I didn't mention that I meant to. Even if you use controller for the run, for any menuing, I would strongly recommend using the mouse. It's faster and more precise. You just hit mouse, just hit that, and then you hit that. Although we don't want to do the warp actually, so I'm gonna hit no. Obviously, if you're doing the run on console, which is going to be a lot slower than PC, but you certainly can do the run on console. If you're doing the run on console, obviously no mouse there. So we're not going to do the warp here because there's puzzle rooms that the any percent run skips that I do not want to skip right now. I want to share some strats for them.
The first time I wore the ring, I could see a coloured image of the sun.
And actually, at the end of the lighthouse section, there's a really kind of dumb time save that you probably wouldn't expect.
Was I dreaming? Was I alive?
So I kind of want to show that as well.
My senses dulled from a lifetime of monotone.
Getting through this room, you just ladder bunny hop as and when you can.
Colours danced in slow motion, like Pollock painting a ballet on the moon. I removed the ring and time slipped back to normal. Colour dissolved into grey. It was overwhelming. But what followed affected me the most.
This room,
Seeing in colour.
you can run through these two lasers here and get the key and run back. It's possible. I can't do it consistently enough to do it in a run. Be like, you shift to red, run through here.
I could remember.
Nope.
After seeing in colour for the first time, when everything returned.
Nope.
After seeing in colour for the first time, when everything.
And the really terrible part is you have to do it twice to get the skip to work, so I really would like to be able to do that skip, but I just can't. Come back, get the key, flip the switch again. I shifted dark blue after flipping the switch the first time, just because I know this here is dark blue. That enables me to run through and just shift to neutral color and get through the door. I'll do the room at full speed. Oops. Hey, just because I felt qualified to make a tutorial doesn't mean I'm perfect. And why was I not on dark blue? Okay, now I'm pissed at myself. Hit the switch, go through there. That's what it's supposed to look like. This room has some exciting new tech in it. You know, I'll show the intended solution first. The intended solution is to do that, and then to just move these boxes out of the way. And get up here, and get the key, and drag this back. Turn the laser back on, come back down here, get through there, hit yellow, and oh, okay, that was a cool room. Here's how you should do it. Don't turn the laser off. This is still kind of new to me, so I am buffering that a little bit, but you don't really need to buffer that. It's obviously much faster that way. I'll try to explain it a little bit this time. I had been explaining and then doing it fast. I guess for this room I'll do it fast and then explain it. Shift to red to make the laser go away. Do not turn the laser off. Once you're here, you just need horizontal momentum going into the jump. You know, get to about here, jump, shift to red. That will make all of your surroundings disappear. Or I guess you shift and then jump. Yeah. Shift and then jump. I'm thinking about it too much. I'm thinking about it too much. There we go. Then you can buffer shifting back to a neutral color once you're on this side. Come back up here, shift to yellow, make the stuff on the top floor disappear. Jump on this. Once you're on this, just jump, shift to neutral color, and you're here. Grab the key. Now, you can not move the block. You know, I'll try to show that. Why is it going to pink? I suck at this game. Boy, I suck at this game. This is why you want to move the block. I actually found a casual player trying this, and they couldn't get it. But there. Okay, that's proof that you don't have to move the block. And that's actually how I had been doing the room in my runs recently, and I believe my PB still does it that way, my warpless PB. But even if you do it perfectly, it's probably still not appreciably faster than moving the block, because moving the block takes a few frames. So does the red shift to get past the laser. So you're here, you shift and jump. You can buffer the shift back to neutral color. And up here, shift to yellow. Shift to, well, red. Neutral color, but you're going to want red eventually. Shift to yellow, shift to red. And walk off the edge. Get to there, shift to yellow. And that's that room. This room. This room, I don't know why, this room has confused the hell out of people. And this room is just like the most straightforward room ever. You shift to purple to make the purple laser on the ground not kill you. Move forward a few paces, shift to orange to do the same there. Now you're here. Now you get to chillax for a moment. While the platform makes its way back to the other side. Stop it right about there. That's even a little bit late. Although actually it doesn't matter because you have to wait for it to come back anyway. You want to position this block such that it's partially blocking the laser aperture down below, but partially not. That enables you, if you get a running start, and actually hit the jump button to get here. And then you can go from here to there. And then you bring the block back. Similarly, that's too far. Similarly, the perfect place to put it is right about there to enable you to get here. The first time In Italics ran Warpless, he didn't turn the lasers off. He just moved the block back and forth with the lasers on, and he was able to do it somehow, but it took him about 10 minutes. This room's fun. You can actually do this room without turning off the lasers. Don't do it that way in a run, because it's slower, but it's kind of amazing that it's even possible. So you get up and over, you hit the switch to turn the lasers off, pull the red block back around. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that keeps happening. Get to about here, shift to yellow. Up here, turn the lasers back on. shift to yellow, I said. And in a 100% run, actually, you would come over here. You need the block to do it, but you would go up and get that beaker, and then you would map warp back to the town, like I mentioned earlier, after we got the green shard. So from here, go back to the other side, shift to yellow. That'll let you get the key. Come back up here, shift in such a way to get through. You don't shift the lasers off there. Took me a second to remember. Or actually, I think you... No, you don't shift the lasers off here. It's been a while since I've done this room. Debated. When you come back through here... Yeah. Yeah, you have to shift the lasers off. You do shift... Yeah, this is correct. Sorry for that little brain fart. So, if you're doing warpless, your natural inclination is going to be to, now that you have green and you can get through that green laser there, your natural inclination is going to be to go here and go through this room with the letter in it. Don't do that. Instead, you were up here. Just drop down here. Go back into the cave. And climb out. You end up accessing the lighthouse from on top, just like if you warp to the town in 100% or in any percent. But instead of, if you go through the room with the letter in it, you emerge through this door. But if you climb out of the cave and run through the town and access the lighthouse switch this way, it's faster, and it's not a little bit faster. It's over 10 seconds faster. So that is the one letter from Mom that is still skipped in the 100% run, or in the warpless run. All the other ones can be taken if so chosen, and I certainly would in a marathon setting. If you're doing 100%, I have actually forgotten this beaker before. It's right there. You just, keep going to the left, don't talk to any NPCs, and kind of the holy grail of Hugh speedrunning right now is to find a way to skip stuff like this, where you're just sitting here doing nothing for like 10 seconds. There's, how many colors are there on the color wheel? 7? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's like 8 of those in the cave hub, and another one there, and another one at the absolute end. So that's almost 2 minutes worth of the run that's just sitting there doing nothing. So you continue on forward.
Stands in the woods, and nobody's there to see it.
We know how to softlock the game during those, but not how to properly skip them and
does it matter?
Be able to continue the game.
This journey has been difficult, Hugh. And whilst I have trodden a lost, winding path,
I like to skip as many of the breakaway blocks, rock floor there as I can. No particular reason, I just do.
If truth does exist in our minds, then I feel there may be one that I have neglected. All this time, you've been alone, and now uprooted, on a journey
No
for
particular
my
strats
cause.
here.
For what? So that I could see the world a little clearer?
Probably do want to practice the movement just a little, because it's a little bit precise, but there's no, trick to it. This room introduces, I call them trampolines. You just jump on them and they change colors. They will get a lot more complicated in later rooms. And at first, when you come through here, you're like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? How do I get across? And then you eventually have the bright idea to, oh, look at that. Heh. So the first one's very simple. You just get across. Now in this room, you want to shift to purple right as you enter this room. Or as long as you do it before you get to this point, it's fine. But you see these here. You gotta be on purple to get through them. And then as you're coming up this ladder, oh my god! It's gonna fall and kill me! No, it's not. You just shift to light blue. And is it... No, it's not here. I have to see what that emote is that someone's using in chat. Okay. Just head through the door. This room is, very straightforward. Just shift to the colors of the trampolines as you head through, because obviously if you don't, that's what happens. And we don't want that to happen. This room here, I really feel like the room that introduced the trampolines should have been something like this, where you see a couple of them and then, oh, there's where the other ones are. The best way I've found to do this room is to jump from here to the middle, then shift. That takes a little practice, and if you wanted to do it, say, well, not that. If you wanted to do it, say, this way, your first few attempts, I certainly wouldn't blame you. But I prefer to just jump, then shift. And if you do it right, when you jump off this third trampoline on the bottom level, you can jump straight from the trampoline onto the ladder. You don't have to land down here, which is obviously a little bit of a time save. Now this room, Modicius has his own strat for this room. It's basically just doing the intended solution with really fast color shifts. I'll tell you my preferred solution. You shift to orange right when you come in, and you bounce under. This is a strat I found from a casual player, believe it or not. Jump up and over, get the key. That is what that is supposed to look like. That is really hard to get in a run. If you do a perfect coyote time jump from here, you will not land on this trampoline here, and we actually want to be on orange. 99% of the time, you're going to land on it, do that before you get across. It's not a big time loss, but it's really cool when it goes right. One more bounce under. And since I didn't even mention it, you know, this is the intended solution. See, I suck at the intended solution. I want to try my bounce under one more time to see if I can get the perfect ending. Whoops. Whoops. There is an element of risk to this strat. Which is why Modicius prefers his strat. I got the perfect ending twice. I love it. This is the room that always makes me thankful I'm not doing a 100% run. When I'm not doing a 100% run. And it makes me hate my life when I'm doing a 100% run. Because you have to take... You can even see them both in frame right now. You have to take this block all the way down to the bottom to jump on it to get to this beaker. It's even harder than it sounds. But for any percent, war plus any percent, you just go straight to the exit. Now this room. I don't know if you're expected to, say, do this. But you do not have to. You know, for the longest time, this is how In Italics did this room. But that's kind of Dumbo. All you have to do is go there and die. Shift to pink, not green. And once you're here, you can just do that. Now, not to pick on him, but In Italics still does something that's kind of Dumbo, even though he does that first part of the solution. What he does is this. And that's Dumbo. If you want to not be Dumbo, you can die. Why do I keep thinking pink is up? Pink is down. You can... What we're going to do is bounce on those purple trampolines and the spikes. You can actually fall on them as you're jumping to grab the key. Really couldn't be simpler. Now, in this room introduces the concept of, okay, there's several possible color patterns you can use, but one's always going to be faster than the others. The color you want here, you know, the idea is to get this laser straight through to the other side. So what you need is for these, and, you know, I'll do this. You can see there's 3 of them. These 3 trampolines to all be the same color that's not red, because red would make the laser disappear as well. The color you want is orange. So you just bounce on it until they turn orange. I always try to remember what color comes directly before orange, which is red. So we're here. Now we can shift to anything and just go through the door. Now in this room, you want to come over here, shift to that. It's a little bit risky. If you move to the right too much, you can end up getting hit by the laser. And I'll actually show a safety strat for that first. The safety strat is to basically just not do it yet. Come through here. This is a lot slower, but a lot safer. In before dead. Now we just come through here, shift to orange, and do that. So that basically guarantees you won't die, but it is really slow. The best way to do it is to do it first off. And can we take a moment to appreciate what good condition Hugh must be in to pull one laser block and push the other one with his back while pulling the first one? Line that laser up. You can jump push this one a little bit, but not too much because it's easy to overshoot it. Get through into here. This room, I enjoy it when casual players get to this room because oftentimes they do figure out that all the trampolines have to be the same color, but they actually all have to be the same specific color, which is light blue. And I tend to see them be like, oh my god, I have to do that. Okay, how many times, if I do that and then do, you know, this and then that, if I do this, do I have to, can I just jump through here and do that? And they don't seem to realize that you can just jump on one platform over and over, one trampoline over and over. And it's not even that spooky. It really isn't. It helps to remember what color comes right before the color you're looking for. So we're looking for light blue. The color that comes right before it is green. But really, it's not even that spooky. Shift to anything to get through there. This is the room I was thinking of earlier with Yon Beaker. Again, not really touching on 100% strats too much. So in this room, you pull this out, knock it down below to block the lasers, grab the key, come back up as fast as you can. Start shifting these 2 trampolines to green. Again, the idea is simply to have them all be the same color, but green is fastest since you can't use pink because pink is the color we're standing on right now. And that's why. You know, for a time there in italics, or no, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. Green is the fastest color to get through there. The next room is very special. Very special indeed. What you're supposed to do in this room is come up here and, like, change the color of these. And get that, and move this around. And move this to, like, orange, I think. And then once you've done all of that, you're safe from the lasers. Oh my god, lasers can't hurt me. Since you moved the purple block, you're also safe from these lasers. Yay, we're at the exit. But that's slow, and we want to go fast. Here's how you go fast. I love this room. Alright, so let's go over that a little bit. I think these swinging lasers are meant to be... They're intended to be not cheesable in this way, but they totally are. You know, some of the runners I've seen do a different version of this solution where they will actually run out onto the block and then shift and then jump through it. And that's actually how I first tried to formulate this, but I find this to be a lot harder. I say as I'm doing it pretty much perfectly. There, that's why it's harder. But I think my solution's better because if you time your jump right, you can jump from here straight to here. And that really makes it easy. You do kind of want to wait until this swinging laser is pointing this way to start your jump. Like, I didn't run far enough. Like so. And at this point, you switch to light blue so the next laser doesn't kill you. And you do the same thing. Dark blue, same thing. Purple, same thing. Jump to the end, same thing. This time you just want to just come back, not even wait for specific cycle. Dark blue, light blue, land, green. And there we are. Now when you're here, remember that skip in the first puzzle in the lighthouse section that I said is totally doable, and I've gotten it like once. But there's a similar skip we do later in the run that's way more consistent. This is the one I was talking about. So you want to be on pink to make the first laser disappear. And it's hard to explain, but you just kind of have to get the feel for it. You shift to green as you're coming through. And if you do it right, neither laser will hurt you. That's what it looks like. You go through. Now, in Warpless, you would simply run to the right to reach the university. In Warps, you can pull up the map and warp there. In the 100%, There is a beaker over here. Now, I don't even actually know. What does restart level do here? It does put you here. Okay, that's cool. See this shadowy figure up above that we've been following throughout the game? Notice that door up there. That door actually does work. And you can reach it. Maybe just hold that thought a little bit. This guy has funny dialogue, but we obviously can't wait around and not listen to his dialogue, but read his dialogue in a speedrun. Skip this letter if you can. Yeah, you don't want to jump when going down. When it doesn't really matter, I just like to bop against those tassels. Okay. So now we're here. First thing to do is shift to red to make that block fall on the switch there, which dispels the door behind us. Shift to green to get through. Shift to red again once you're on the other side of it. Once you're here, shift to blue to make the laser disappear. Jump over to there. You can actually... Yeah, let me show that a little bit more clearly. You can actually jump off of here pretty much immediately. And see, you're already there. You don't have to wait for the balloons to take you up at all. Push the red block off, shift to green, shift to neutral color, shift to anything. Let the green paint your block. Shift to red to make that other block fall back on the switch. Now you want to be on the switch there. This is an easily missed beaker for, certainly casual playthroughs or even the 100% run. Just get that beaker. Come back around. And do it all again. Now you want to be hiding out up there when you shift to green to make this block disappear. And you go through. This is probably the easiest death warp in the game. You shift to orange and go back. That's it. Although the actual solution for this room is kind of fun too. Shift to orange to make the block fall. And you want to have the block be different colors from the lasers that is guarding the stuff you need to reach. So turn it blue. Obviously, this is what you need to do in like a warpless run. Turn it blue, shift to pink to make the pink laser disappear. Lets you come get the key. Shift to neutral color, turn it pink, shift to light blue to make that disappear. And now you're at the exit. It's not a very long room anyway, but the death warp is still faster. This room has a little trick or optimization, whatever you want to call it, that even I didn't understand for the longest time. But it makes sense to me now. Push this block through. As soon as it hits the red there, shift to light blue. Now, as you fall through there, turn hue backward. Do you see how hue is facing backward as I'm falling through the little space between this platform here and the block? If I did it right... Yeah, that has me on the left side. Here's how it looks if you don't think to do that. You wind up over here, and you have to go, like, all the way around, and it takes 100,000 years. And it's fine, but it's slower. If you're on top of your game here, you can push it forward against the grain a little bit. I've seen a lot of casual players, and even I did this in my first few runs, do, say, that to get back. And this works, and it's kind of fun, but There's a better way. Instead of riding the box, just shift to red. You don't even have to shift again up here because you can make that jump, and then you're at the exit. This room has killed a lot of runs. I will just say that. Do the intended solution first, if I can remember it. Get rid of the orange there. Have that become purple. Shift that to purple. Then once that's up and situated, shift to red, specifically red, to make the red laser disappear. Jump over here, shift to purple in midair, and you're here. And there's another somewhat easily missed beaker over here, so you have to do this solution in the 100% run. Now, as you're coming back, jump, shift to red in midair. Yes, that's a harder jump than it looks. If you're hitting this block as it rises, you can manage to jump straight from this block straight to that block. It saves a good little chunk of time to do that. It's probably 3-4 seconds, and then you're at the exit. That is not the any percent solution. The any percent solution is a death warp, but it's a tricky one. Because you have to move this block as it's falling. There. Once it's on this platform here, shift to neutral color to get it up there. Now it's right above you, shift to orange, and death warp. It's really pretty tricky. And it's something I could use to practice on, so let's do it again. Damn it. There, that was good. That was really good, actually. And there's like a little bug or something when you go... We think the mouse is responsible for it. When you go backwards through an entrance door, if you do the inputs too fast, the up and right inputs, the confirmation box ends up selecting nothing. And that has foiled many a death warp. It does not happen on console. Death warps are infinitely easier on console. But it's not too bad, this one. With some practice, you can get it down pretty easily. And then this room is like the university trophy case or something. I like to mess up their stuff as I run through, just for fun. This room is very special as well. I do not know the intended solution for this room. I'll show you the relatively easy speedrun solution. That's to move this block over and have it cover one of these gaps. Call that the single blue laser skip. And if we have a single blue laser skip, you bet your sweet bippy we have a double blue laser skip. For a long time, that was not considered RTA viable, and not to pat my own back, but I basically made it RTA viable. What you need to do is have horizontal momentum running at the laser, shift to the color of the laser, which is also the color below your feet, which is light blue. That's supposed to make a trick like this not possible, but it totally is. You shift to light blue as you're running at the laser, so you have horizontal momentum. Jump past it, shift to neutral color as you're falling. You have, you know, probably a third of a second to do that. And then you have to do it a second time. But I think the reason this used to be considered non-RTA viable is because runners thought you had to do it in one fluid motion. You really don't. You can stop in between and start again. I actually did it that way. I'll show you what I mean. See there, I'm in between, and I can just chill here. Back up just a few pixels, and get horizontal momentum again going through the second laser. It's tricky. This is not an easy skip, and I would recommend to anyone first starting out the run to do the single. The single is way, way easier. It's also way, way slower, but that tends to be how these things go. So you do the single, you block one of the lasers, come back around, and especially if you block the first laser, when you land after shifting to light blue, you should be landing on the black anyway, but I have it in my muscle memory to shift back to neutral color to make the light blue on the spike pit reappear. But you just run at it, shift to light blue, jump, and shift to neutral color. And die. I knew that was going to happen. I was overthinking it for that last one. Yeah, the intended solution involves, like, bringing this here and... See, I don't even know. Or you have to, like... You have to, like... Or, yeah, you have to, like, turn it blue, bring it back here, jump on it, and it's really long and involved. Yeah, the intended solution is, like... Well, not that, because you couldn't be able to get back that way. See, like I said, I don't even know the intended solution. Oh, it's like this. And then you have to come back around and, like, shift to orange. And shift to purple when you're here. And move this. Like, shift to, well, that's not right. But it takes 1,000 years to do the intended solution. Don't do the intended solution if you're speedrunning this game. At least do the single blue laser skip. The single is really not that hard. The single is really not that hard. There we go. And then for some reason, this room gives me as much or more trouble than the previous one, even though that room has a pretty complicated skip in it, but all this room is jumping over one globe. Okay, I got it that time, but it's not at all uncommon that I don't. I'll show you the intended solution. That's to come here-ish. Shift the colors of the lasers as you move past. Make it pink, shift to pink. And then just do it again. That's the intended solution. There is also a death warp you can do. I believe Modicius did it in his PB, which is interesting because it's way slower than the boulder skip. And way harder, too. Yeah, that's the death warp. But however you get through this room, be happy you did. And there's a death warp in this room that Modicius actually showed me, and then I went back and rewatched his PV, and he doesn't do it. So, I don't get that. You need these 3 blocks in the center to all be the same color. Green is fastest. Ladder bunny hops. Shift to green, or whatever color, but green is fastest. Shift to light blue. Move this down. And here's the death warp. Suspend that in midair by shifting to dark blue. Come back around, hit the door. Shift to anything but light blue. And there's your death warp. It doesn't seem like it saves much time because you're still doing most of the room, but it actually does save about 10 seconds, which is pretty substantial. I'll show the intended solution now. This is the solution you would do in a warpless run. You know, everything's the same so far. But at that point, we just push the block off. Get some paint on it. Hit that. It's faster to shift to the colors of those blocks than to jump over them, and you just get to here and you're at the exit. This room, another very special room. Shift to yellow to make the paint can, I don't know what you want to call it, in the middle there, fall down. As you push this red block, now a blue block through. The placement of this one is sort of precise. You want it to be off the edge. You want it to be off the edge of this platform here, but not so far that it gets painted green. It cannot get painted green. If you paint it green, you should basically just reset the room. Which, by the way, is not allowed in warpless runs. But if you do need to reset the room, say, oh no, I painted it green, it's a warpless run, so what do? I just die. You can get a couple of jump pushes in there. So yeah, you want it there-ish. Underneath that green paint platform, but without actually painting it green. Shift to pink, not purple, to block that laser. The 5th place runner who hasn't been active in some time, the way he does this is so ridiculous. He doesn't have that one there. He basically does, you know, something like that, and tries to have it hover in midair, blocking the laser. You can see it in his PB video. It's pretty impressive that he gets it to work at all, but it's way harder than it needs to be, and way slower too. So you want this to be, you want it to be dark blue. You don't want it to disappear in dark blue. Here's something I found out in my any percent PB, which is the current world record as of this recording, 46:55. You jump from here. What you want to do is shift to blue in midair so you land on the platform on the other side. But there's a pixel you can stand on here. I found this out during the world record run, and I don't think people fully appreciate how insane that is to find something like this during the world record. And if you go back and watch the VOD, I kind of lose my mind a little bit when that happens. But you just shift to blue, get through here. Shift to green to make that laser go away, which also makes this paint go away, which is critical. And that shows you why this wide block can't be green, because if it was green, you wouldn't be able to jump through the laser. Shift to red, and we're here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, this room. Oh my goodness, this room. Well, first let's do the intended solution. You just have to push this block forward. Now, one thing to remember is that the block won't fall unless there's absolutely nothing below it. If even one pixel of the block is resting on a platform below it, it will not fall. So you can push this block mostly off of the purple bricks below it right now without any risk of it falling. And you can just go up and over and shift to purple when you're on the other side. And get the block there. It's imperative that the block remain orange. If it's purple or light blue, you basically have to reset the room. And ideally you would get this first platform cycle with these swinging paint platforms, but it doesn't matter. Switch to orange, that lets you get through here. Switch to pink, lets you get through here. Pull this, do that, drop the pink. Now it doesn't really matter what color anything is. Just want to get through here. To there. Hit that switch to turn the lasers off. That lets you get up and around and to the exit. But, oh my goodness gracious, is there a but for this room? There's a death warp. I've even taken to calling it the crazy warp, just because of how crazy you have to be to try it. But yeah, it's imperative. And this befuddles a lot of casual players. It's imperative that this orange block stay... Fuck you. Sorry, I've been trying not to swear during this. But it's imperative that this orange block stay orange. There we go. It's better? And I'll at least show the setup for the death warp. I can't guarantee that I'll get it because it's really hard. What you want to do is shift to light blue, but only for as long as it takes this pink block to be inside the light blue block. Like so. Like that. Now you want to shift to light blue with you on top of the light blue block and basically ride the pink block down. Now you can see that this puts you in a death warp state because if you're here, you can go backwards through the door, but you see how low it is. You do not have much time to do this. And as I've mentioned, doing the... Correct, Katsumo. I knew somebody would go for that. You're in a death warp state here. But you can see how low the pink block is there. And as I mentioned, if you do the door inputs too fast, the confirmation box ends up selecting nothing. So this is really hard to do right. It's, you know, it's kind of a buzzword in speedrunning, but I'll say it's probably frame perfect. You want it to be on yes, but you cannot really wait because of how low the pink block is. And I did not get it that time. I'll give it a couple of tries, but that's the setup for it. Once you know the setup, you can try it. And sadly, you cannot push this pink block in such a way where you can jump on it to get back up and over. If you could, the death warp would be trivial. Well, maybe not trivial, but way less difficult. You can move it a few pixels here. You see how I'm moving it left and right a little bit there? I find that I have better luck with the warp if it's to the left. It might not really matter, but that's what I've found. I really thought I got it that time. Give it one or two more tries. But it really skips a lot if you can get it. You have to redo a lot if you don't. So this is a pretty scary thing to try. I would not recommend new players even think about trying this, to be perfectly honest. This is a really... You know, I have every world record in this game, and I'm very much struggling with this warp. On PC, that is. On console, this is child's play easy. I really thought I had it that time. And I've experimented with keyboard setups, even mouse setups, and I just can't find anything that's consistent. Got it that time. So you can see If you can somehow by some miracle get it first try, it would be a big, big time save. This is one of the more hidden in plain sight beakers for the 100% run. We have this box here. We have these little ridges. And voila. This is another room I'm not great at. Katsumo has really... See, I screwed it up. Has really optimized this room a lot better than I have. Yeah, I'm screwing it up. What is going on here? What you want to do is shift to green first so that thwomp disappears. Aggro this one. As it gets through there, shift to orange. And then shift to green there. If you time it right, which I didn't, you can even jump off of that thwomp as it's rising to get back to the black platform up above. Really hard to get the timing right on that one. Would not recommend new runners do it. And I screwed up again. Yeah. So anyway, you just go through. I think the game expects you to change all three of them. So you run all the way through it, go down that ladder on the right and push the yellow block. But you can just do that and end up pushing it. Shift to yellow to get through here. Now you want these two to change back to their native colors. And I screwed something up. There we go. That enables you to, as I said, I'm not very good at this room. That enables you to come down here, grab that. And you're at the exit. I will try to do this room at full speed. Yeah, I didn't do that right. But honestly, it's probably going to be okay. Yeah, that was not exactly correct, but it worked. Okay, we are nearing the end. No particular strats in this room. Oh, some little things. You basically just do this room the way you're supposed to. Hit that switch and block the paint there. Pushing is a better idea than pulling, so shift to dark blue to make that laser disappear. Because you can jump push at the end there. To get it, the yellow block on the pressure pad down there. Shift to light blue, aggro the thwomp. Jump on the thwomp. You can bring this down, make this yellow. Now, you're still going to want to be to the left of the currently yellow block down below. We're going to make it red. So you want to shift to yellow to make this disappear. Then before the laser kills you, shift to dark blue. Jump push it again. And then over here, it's probably a better idea to pull this wide yellow block because that gives you an easy and obvious space to color shift to get through. If you push it, sometimes you don't have that space. So it still works okay if you push it, but it's probably better to pull it. I'll do the room at full speed. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I get ahead of myself here. I actually did that in, thankfully it wasn't a run, but it was de-rusting practice the other night. Let's try it again, doing the room at full speed. Yeah, pulling's better than pushing here, since you're going to want to push it back to the switch anyway. Like I said, sometimes this happens. It's like the game gives the hanging tassel some extra collision or something. Alright, I like to shift to dark blue immediately when entering this room, just because the last paint bucket is dark blue. Go down and get the key. Just shift to the colors of these things as they pass. You can jump over them, but it's both slower and harder, so no reason to. This is the last puzzle room. I've lost runs to this room. It's a bit of a heartbreak when it happens. You want to pull this wide blue block to the right a little bit. Drop back down again. Now, what I like to do here, when this falls down, you know, shift to purple, shift to dark blue to make it disappear there, shift to green to make the laser disappear there. When we shifted to dark blue, I actually did it a little later than I prefer to, but I prefer to have that thwomp come down and get aggroed by the wide dark blue block there. That means that when it gets back to the top, when I do this, it gets aggroed again. Otherwise, you have to like peek your head out to make it aggro. It's super weird. Now, the best neutral color to use in this room is red. If you're in the habit of using pink as a neutral color, which I am in a lot of rooms, you gotta not. And you can't use orange either. You could use light blue, but I prefer to use red for whatever reason. So shift to neutral color, red is my choice there. Get the dark blue box on top of the thwomp. Just push this back enough that you can get back through. And here's the move. There are safer ways to do this, but what you need to do here is shift to neutral color, push the block that's going to materialize right in front of us to the point where the pink thwomp will come down in contact with it, and then and only then do we push it off the edge and down to the bottom. While that's happening, the pink thwomp on the left will still be in position to block the green laser. It's almost as complicated as it sounds. But that's what it looks like. It looks like the simplest thing in the world when it goes right. And the hooded figure retreats through that door, but we're going to do the room again. I was wondering if the hooded figure was still going to be there. Never actually tested that before. So I'll just try to do the room at full speed here. That didn't quite work right, but it's fine. And even though there's a bit of a lag spike, it's not as big a one. And because we don't hear this guy's voice throughout the run, and because it's such a nice voice and such a nice letter, and it brings the story to a pretty tidy conclusion, I actually always grab this one.
Dearest Hugh, it has been too long. You have grown so much. Your mother, I tried to warn her. I thought that exiling her from the university would protect her, would protect you. She did not understand that some people choose not to see. I never stole the ring from her, Hugh. I tried to destroy it, before it destroyed her. I now know she had it under control. She knew what she was doing. My intervention shattered the ring, altering your mother's very fabric. My only reprieve is that you were able to follow in her footsteps, to experience her work.
There's the hooded
firsthand.
figure. It's Dr. Gray.
We do not see things as they are, Hugh.
Strongly implied to be Hugh's father.
We see them as we are. Your mother.
Remember that door at the beginning of the university I said, kind of keep it in mind?
Expect she will be thrilled.
It's the door behind
to see
Hugh's
how far
mom.
we've come.
That's the door it pairs with. And you can come back here in postgame and actually use that door as a door. There's really no reason to other than memes, but it is possible. Welcome to the only dialogue in the game you can't mash through. I usually do anyway. Just out of habit, just mash the buttons. And if it was up to me, I would have said time ends at the end of the last puzzle room because this last part is so trivial. But I wasn't the one who made the board, and Alex was, so it was his call. There's another envelope here. I would advise skipping it. It has a pretty large lag spike. You know, if you were doing the run at a marathon, like a GDQ or something, fingers and toes crossed, you probably would, just to complete the story. And when you reach the end of this last little dream cave, when you lose control of Hugh for the final time, that is when the run ends. Because that's when the game ends. And I always like to let the credits roll. Even if it's a game I've speedrun 100 times, and this is a game I've speedrun 500 times. Which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, isn't even really that many speedrun attempts. There are people with, you know, 30,000 speedrun attempts on their games. It would be for games much shorter than this one. But they're out there. And yes, as someone in chat did mention, there is an auto splitter for this game. You really